Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the finest Dawn of War Tug-of-War casts this side of East Yorkshire. And today I've got a 3 vs 3 on Tristram Plains. Playing on the Orc side, we've got Roman 228, we've got Hyperion, and we've got Where's My Teeth. And playing as the Astra Militarum, as the Steel Legion, we have Necrotechnica, we've got Vrax as the Death Corps of Krieg, and we have got Q-Kai also as the Steel Legion. So this is part 2 of the Tarsham campaign. If you remember from the previous video, the Orks did win that section of the campaign, with 21 games played during this leg. We'll have to see who wins. I would normally do a couple of matches to showcase what's happened during this campaign. However, I've not really got enough time, so I've kind of just tried to find the most interesting looking matchup to cast for you, and then we'll find out the results at the end. So that's quite exciting. Now, this is a very interesting matchup. Well, when I say a matchup, a very interesting map to have this game on. As you will notice, with the amount of strategic points over on this side, 2 players on the Orc side will have access to 4 strategic points, whereas 1 will only have 3, which is kind of an issue for the Orcs in the early game, because they do require as much blue money as humanly possible. They will need to have a little sneak around and have a look at these relics. But obviously, as we can already see, the Steel Legion and the Death Corps of Krieg, with all these narrow corridors to put their defences on, also able to layer up those defences, because obviously you can fire up and down on a mountainside. So it's going to be quite difficult for the Orcs in the early game. But then in the mid-game, I reckon the Orcs will then start to shine if they're able to break down a couple of these defences. Because yes, okay, the Steel Legion and Death Corps will be able to deny these relics to the Orcs for a little while by building up their defences. But building up lots of defences is kind of like a catch-22 in the sense that it costs money and they're static. So, and also you can't really, once they're built, you can't really change them into anything more adaptive. So like if the Orcs change their strategy, well, the turret's still there, isn't it? Or the bunker is still there. So I imagine that in the early game, the Astra Militarum will be totally fine. It's going to be what do the Orcs do later on that really define the game as we are approaching. You know, we've got some Orcs in the middle having a sniff at this critical location. Lord General Command Squad going to go for their veteran bodyguard at range. Tarantula turret over here attempting to be finished, and they will probably get that, as there's only one squad of shooter boys over here that's currently been tied up by the Jaegers with their mighty shovels, but then they will be surrounded by all the Orcs. And double tarantula turrets, actually, yeah, that's going to be quite a difficult situation for them to deal with. You want to kind of send these boys back.
Another step.
Kind of really can't assault these places unless, of course, you get all your big mechs in one area, or you just quickly take up into tier 2 and go for this tank busters. Orcs managing to capture this relic over yonder, which is quite good, actually. Was not expecting them to be able to take on one, but I imagine the Death Corps and the Steel Legion thought, right, if we put all our money into one specific area, better to deny 2 relics successfully than try and deny all 3, but then failing. So, Where's My Teeth will claim this listing post. Sorry, this relic over here. Critical location, all up for grabs there. And there are a critical location victory on this. Oh, there's one here, one here, one here, and one here. That's quite exciting. Slugger boys over here, go and see if they can go around the side. Sadly, these tarantula turrets are able to twist and turn their necks. Going to be wiping out this Slugger Boy squad, unless, of course, it reinforces itself, which it does not look like it's going to do. Big Mech teleporting in the second Big Mech as well. It's raining Big Mechs, rip off the roof and stay in bed, as some would say. Slugger Boys with very little in the way of morale, but they're going to keep on keeping on. He seemed to have how would one describe it? Kind of just exploding upon death. You have a lot of Slugger Boys over here, though. Do quite like that. You never see enough Slugger Boys on a map. It's always, ooh, we'll get our shooter boys and then tech up and then get our flash kits and knobs, leaving the lowly Slugger Boys out of the combat. But bearing in mind that I've recently watched one of Jaegers' videos where he explains all the benefits you can get from having quite a large squad. And obviously there's like 6... Oh, I apologise, I'm going to bastardise this explanation now, because I've only watched it maybe about half an hour ago. But essentially, like, the more boys you have in a squad, the more buffs they get. Like, improved movement speed, health regen, invulnerability to morale if there's enough people in a certain area. So you really do want to get those Ork numbers up. Which I never knew before. But look at that, we're all learning, boys and girls. Anyway, all the shooter boys giving a good pounding to this Lord General and his bodyguards. Big Mech throwing a guy away, tossing that salad, as it were. Critical location still yet to be conquered by either side there. The problem here is that, okay, we've got lots of slugger boys that want to get involved in close combat. These guys can just hang around, keeping their eye on this critical location, and then the moment the slugger boys start to charge at them, they can just pull back into the defensive protection of that tarantula turret. Another bunker being placed down here as well, going to cover over this critical location.
Yes, sir.
The slugger boys over on this side, kind of patrolling around. They can't really push any much further in at this point. Sorry, I just knocked my microphone twice then. What have we got? We've got ammunition bunker. Go and see a Chimera Hellhound tank. So, got some tier 2s on the go, I imagine? Question mark. There we go, tier 2 for Devkov Krieg. Now, there we go, phase 1 rapid deployment, so these guys will also be going for their tier 2. They get them from their big satellite building. How are the Orks doing for tech? Nearly tier 2, kind of nearly there, and tier 2 for these guys. So they're ready to do some bunker cracking, as it were.
You need something fixed.
He says with no degree of confidence, a good amount of infantry there. Getting those pilot guns online. But these legionnaires with their grenade launchers, now these guys are going to be quite interesting to see how they go up against the Ork tier 2. So obviously Orks have got quite a strong tier 2 in regards to their vehicles and their aircraft and their infantry. So lots of options to go for them. These grenade launchers will take care of a lot of the infantry that they'll take up into. And they also have the option, I mean, these missile launchers are quite amazing, in all honesty. So they'll do quite a lot of damage if the Orks decide to go for a vehicle-heavy composition. And then plasma guns, well, yeah, in case they go for heavy infantry. So they've got the answers for it. It's just who is able to best position themselves as we go in. If these gun turret emplacements being popped up. But these guys are good against basically most things, I would say. Not sure how good they are against aircraft. But tanks and infantry, they're certainly fine with. Hellhound now coming out, going to flank this mass of Orks over here. Not quite in range of its flamer, but this war truck will play fair and get close. But using its rockets, will fire away. Oh, he says, oh no, he replaces his rockets with his twin big shooters. Which is an interesting way of going about things. Huh. Not sure if that's the right idea. Who do you belong to? Not sure if that's the right idea, Mr. Where's My Teeth. When you're seeing these Hellhounds coming out. Got a Trojan out as well. And they have also managed to decap this critical, this relic from the Orks. Orks not too happy about it, but as we said earlier on, gun turret emplacement able to provide supporting fire from way down there. The Steel Legionnaires will be chased away. But Hellhound coming in for support. Without any anti-vehicle stuff going on over here, these Orks are probably going to have to fall back. We shall do a really quick econ check. 92 and 50. Hold up. We'll do it from this side first then. 126 and 68, 104 and 50, and 94 and 50 compared to 74 and 40, 104 and 40, and 92 and 50. So the economy on the Astra Militarum side is quite sweet. Not sure about the Orks at the moment, but they have got their tank busters online. Got some more, in fact, 2 squads at the moment. No infiltration detection from what I can see from the Steel Legion over on this side. Orks over here just keeping an eye on this hive city that's sprawling up in front of us. The Orks are unable to regain their relic. That's going to cause them some real economic issues later on. What would be the answer for this? I mean, going in this centre here is probably not the idea, because no matter which way you go, you're going to be attacked on all sides. It's going to be breaking through either the left-hand or the right-hand side. We have a Vox Centre over here, which is an interesting place to put it. All the more juicy in the way of targets. Tank busters moving forward. And one volley from those bad boys can take a Hellhound down to half health. War trucks now moving in. Roman 228 using those missiles on those war trucks to full effect. Tank Ace, though, is quite lethal against anything light armoured like a war truck or war track. Quite difficult to deal with at the moment. But I mean, they've got the tank busters, and these guys. Oh, so Roman 228 is going to go for some tank hammers on the tank busters, which I'm not sure if they do more or less damage than the rockets, but allow them to get into close combat and bash things about. So we'll have to see about their effectiveness. Tank busters being teleported in by the big mech, which is quite a nice touch. Missiles akimbo. Slugger Boys trying to absorb all the fire that they can. Hellhound just really enjoying himself, spinning around, giving everyone a little flick of the fire. And look at this big push. Grotz as well in there, keeping these vehicles full of health, or at least as much of health as they possibly can. One Hellhound going to go down. Tank Ace managing to survive with very little in the way of damage done to it. Slugger Boys just screening these guys as they go in for that decap. Once they get that decap as well, it will reduce the vision. I mean, if we look at things going on from their perspective, with that relic over there, we can see all these guys going about their business. Once that relic goes down, then a good chunk of stuff will be invisible. Behind the fog of war, Tank Ace, very low on health at the moment. Big Mech, hungry for that mechanical booty. Going to give that bad boy a slap. In fact, we need to watch this from the Ork perspective just so we can see those tank busters. Huge push, unrelenting. Not sure if this is an overextension, as these tanks have now rallied, and we do have some charge turrets round the back here as well, causing all sorts of issues. So these guys are going to fall back en masse. Only the tank busters left, however, so we'll give the Legionnaires the opportunity to move in and do some damage, but they are also equipped mostly with missile launchers. Also, still no detection on these lads. Maybe want to keep these tank busters on the edges and now start firing down on the cliff. Over on this side, we do have a fleet of Dakar jets. The staple of the Ork strategy in the Tarshum campaign. Tarshum 5? Tarshum 4? I think I went for Tarshum 5, I can't remember. Roman numerals are not my strength. There we go. Squadron of tank busters and Dakar jets. Easily taking on anything that the Steel Legion and Death Corps can bring to bear in the late game. And the Steel Legion, from what I can remember, don't have access to any big Titan units. Whereas the Death Corps of Krieg, they've got their blimp, they've got... oh, what's it called? The Manticore, which is like a really epic artillery unit, wonderful against big blobs of infantry, which the Orks are certainly going to be going for throughout this match. But they are defending. Shooter Boys over here, kind of losing the plot a bit. I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough, they've got that decap, but kind of need to take care of these engineers to prevent them from repairing this gun turret emplacement. Tank Ace, though, making a bit of a botch play, getting zapped by that big mech. Is now going to be done in. Very unfortunate. Over here on this side, they are trying to push into the centre after decapping this relic, but the Steel Legion are reclaiming this side, although they will need some infantry to come up to support them. Scout Sentinel there. Oh no, you're not the... so the Steel Legion can sometimes go for their mechanised doctrine, and then they get like a Sentinel that caps things for them. Can't remember if this is the capping Scout Sentinel, or whether it's just your generic only decapping Sentinel. But it's dead now, so it's irrelevant. Can't cap or decap when you're dead. There we go, right-hand side, falling foul to the Ork advance. Although the centre is still holding. Hellhound falling down as well. The Orks able to push a little bit left, a little bit right, but not really holding on to anything for too long. Although I imagine this position with this particular composition is going to be a lot harder for the Steel Legion to regain. Are seeing some fire control bunkers, been popped up, so showing their economies of all the generators one could require for funding a vehicle-heavy composition. Killer can moving forward, which is a wonderful idea. It won't survive for long, but it will at least absorb the damage from these trencher turrets long enough to allow these tank busters to get into position. But sadly, the artillery bomb. Where are you? Where is the artillery? There was artillery. Oh, there you go. An Armageddon Pattern Basilisk over here, firing over, knocking these boys all about. Hellhound's moving in, looking to get those listing posts, but not able to quite do it. Don't think that the flanking is going to work all that well for the Steel Legion and Death Korps of Krieg. Just need to hold on to these points until you get those big units out for that big push towards the Ork base. Dacker Jets holding on quite nicely, but against... what is this? 2 Storm Chimeras, Hellhound, and a Scout Sentinel. While they are beefy planes, they're not going to survive all that well. Hellhound's now going to move straight into the base. There we go, no flanking required. One thing that makes this a huge benefit as well is that if they move straight to the base, all of this is very vulnerable. The Orks have to fall back to defend it, which allows the Steel Legion and Death Korps to push over towards these critical locations, giving them the opportunity to slap down some bunkers and transfer turrets. One Hellhound falls down, another one soon to follow, as the Big Mech brings the shooter boys over. There we go, a breach has been made. The Steel Legion bringing over those... oh, sorry, no, these aren't Steel Legion, these are Death Korps Vendettas, I think? Question mark? Either way, war banners go down. Grot's also not having the best time ever. And now the Orks are playing on the defensive. It looks like they're gathering their troops. Flash kits, tank busters, shooter boys, Dacker Jets as well. A good mix to go up against everything that these guys have, but they have lost a listing post. Orks over here moving in for a flanking scenario. How many type of squads is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And a looter squad as well. This poor Hellhound coming into the wrong neighbourhood. Yeah, these tanks over here aren't going to survive the battle that is to come. But over here the flash kits are having a little bit of success when their fire is woven into the tank busters. Vendetta's going to be pushed away. And they've done a fair bit of damage. Have the Steel Legion here. They've managed to get 2 listing posts down, maybe even get a 3rd one. Also these war banners as well, pushing the Orks back into the tech tree, while also forcing them to waste money buying more. Got some more looters coming in. And a battle wagon, which will be quite a nice thing to add to the composition. Just add loads of rocket launchers to it, leave it to stand in the middle, and it'll absorb a lot of fire while dishing out a fair bit as well. Not the most DPS focused of the big units that the Orks could go for, but it's certainly a welcome addition. Mega Armor Knobs as well. Those guys, much like the Killer Cans we saw earlier, will be able to absorb quite a lot of fire. They've also got Commander Armor as well, which means they can take a little bit more of a licking compared to their heavy infantry counterparts. Orks now regaining their momentum, looking to see if they can push into the centre. Over here, there we go. To make sure that the Orks don't push over here, more tarantula turrets. There we go. It seems that 3's the magic number. Got a weird boy coming in, spitting out warp fire. Although then the sensor move back a little bit. Don't want him exploding around your boys. Flash kits and tank busters. Nary a slugger boy in sight now. Going purely for those elite fighting forces. And it's working. Those... oh, what are you called, Mr. Tank that's now dead? You are called a destroyer tank. There we go. Wonderful range. Ace against tanks, but the Orks seem to have decided to go for a more infantry-focused composition. And all these Legionnaires have gone for missile launchers, so in theory, the Orks should be able to be making some good progress over here. Do have some Stormtroopers being deep stricken. Oh, sorry, never mind. Ah, you're quite big for a Stormtrooper, aren't you? Leman Russ Execution has been teleported straight in. We've got a looted Predator tank and a battle wagon. Here come the Slugger boys. Does seem to me that Where's My Teeth has gone for that upgrade which allows us to buy Slugger boys for free. And if all three of them do this, ooh, imagine the Dakka, imagine the charge, the glorious 100 pop Slugger boy charge, which is what we really want. But yeah, there's Armageddon Leman Russ dudes not surviving. Got Basilisks over here. Orks still keeping forward, but not really able to break through this firing line here. And you've got a Bombard. Ooh, okay. That's going to be a nice counter to the infantry for the Orks. Shorter range than your regular Basilisk. But I mean, just you can tell by the girthiness of that cannon. Going to do a lot of damage to anything squishier than a tank. Do quite like that they've gone for their looted Predator tank. They have the Orks. When you buy a looted tank, it gives you it's like a random choice between one Predator or God, what's the other one? I think it's a choice between a Predator or a Leman Russ. They're slightly different. This Predator is good against demons, believe it or not, which is quite a rare thing for a tank. Not sure how many other vehicles can burst such a damage output. But over here on the left-hand side of this central point, we are seeing a bit of damage being done, but one battle wagon has gone down. It took them a long time to go down. There we go. Looted Leman Russ. Right there for you. And actually they're both. So is there a difference? They've got the exact same unit card, number-wise. It must be just for aesthetic reasons, which is totally fine. I don't mind something like that being added into the game if it's just for looking reasons. Lucius Patton Baneblade now out for Vrax, as there are so many tanks over here. The Stormblade as well. Hoo-wee. This is quite the mechanised line going on here. Do have the looters over here, though. Haven't gone for any of their upgrades as of yet, but I'm sure we will see. Oh, there we go. One Mega Blaster. Bombard moving forward, but will be seen by these, what do I call them, those tank busters. Over here, the push continues. Stormblade and Lucius Patton Baneblade getting some good shots in. Look at that. One squad of Slugger boys blasted from existence. But the mass of lads continues. Hellhound goes down. Leman Russ, or Predator, whatever you were called, Mr. Looted Tank, you go down as well. The Stormblade now taking the brunt of the damage from these tank busters. Tank busters still infiltrated there, but what the Stormblade can do is that it might not be able to see them, but it can attack the ground near them, kind of negating the infiltration that they have, which is very interesting. How many boys huts are you going for? If you've bought the Infinite Slugger Boy upgrade, you kind of need to build up like 15 boys huts to be able to really benefit from that constant spawning of lads. I tend to, I mean, I'm not like a professional Ork player in any way, shape or form, but generally what I would like to do with that kind of strategy is you mass them all up in one area and then you send them out in big waves rather than this constant dripple. Triple destroyers over here, trying to snipe out anything and everything. Lucy's Patton kind of stuck behind him, needs these boys to move out the way. Like a mother goose being blocked by her younglings. Stormblade over here, looking worse for wear, as these Mega Armor knobs coming to take a chunk out of its hide. But its brother will come in and provide additional firing support. Looking very desperate for the Orks now. But they are about to take down the Stormblade. Do the Orks have anything big coming out? Not sure if they're able to get their economies fully I mean, what? It's 58 and 14, 100 and something. Yeah, I mean, they've got loads of blue money for where's my teeth, but not able to quite get their economies exactly where they needed to keep up with Steel Legion of Deathcore Krieg. But it's not over till it's over, boys and girls. We have seen crazier things happen on this channel. And although, yes, fair enough, this is quite the... I mean, look, just multiple layers of fire going on here. We've got the front line with the Baneblade, second line with these destroyers, third line with the Armageddon Pattern Assault Basilisks, and the Legionnaires mixed in just to prevent these Slugger Boys and anyone else from coming in, causing them any problems. Going to take a wily and cunning Orc to manoeuvre out of this situation. Will the Dakka Jets be the way forward? We do have some infiltrated Stormtroopers coming in and destroying quite a lot of things in the Orc base, as the Orcs try and focus their desperate defense over onto this side. But now outnumbered, outgunned, Vendetta's doing some sort of shuffle in the sky. Slugger Boys unable to amass their numbers all that well. Jesus, it's just not a happy day for a member of the infantry. Big Mecha over here with the Mega Armor Knobs blocking this Lucius Pattern Baneblade in the corner. He's unable to escape. These guys are just going to wail in on him. Go and get him, punch him, rip him apart, rip him in two with those big meaty claws that you have, but no, they decide to let him out. Well, that's very gentlemanly of them. Almost like in boxing, where I can never remember what the rule is, but like, you know, when boxers just tend to hug each other and the referee's got to stop them from hugging. That's why I like to imagine that was. It's been a while since I watched boxing, to be honest. Either way, look at all this, just everything exploding. Looted tanks going down. We've got a gun wagon coming out, which is like a poor man's version of a Basilisk, but fires a little squig. I don't know if you saw that there, but quite like that. It's an aesthetically pleasing weapon. The boomer is bigger, but the range is less shooty. I'm sure that is the proper terminology that the big mechs would use. All these Slugger Boys being burnt to a crisp by triple Hellhounds here. Not even getting a whiff of close combat. Trying to get some looters out with their big shooters. Dakka Jet over here, kind of losing faith in the world, not really going to get involved in anything. We're around that stage now where even if these guys did have lots of money, wouldn't really be able to spend it all, as they don't really have any room to build any extra buildings. Looking for some more loot. Oh, a looted Imperium tank, that's what they're called, okay. Fair dues, fair dinkum, as they would say down under. Battle wagons still coming out. Not sure if battle wagons are the way forward with all the destroyers. But then again, realistically, what other options are you going to go for? I'm going to see some artillery platforms, which aren't a bad idea. Though, built a little bit late, as I imagine the Orks weren't planning to play the defensive game here. Look at this, just the slow, gradual walk into the base. And the Orks are making them fight for every inch of it. Not a single piece of ground has been given without the spilling of Imperial blood. Hellhound will be taken down. Malachor? Malkador, that's the word. A Deathcore Krieg big tank, good against vehicles and buildings. We're going to be turning its attention to some of these infantry just for a good time. Artillery platform has been seen. quite a while for it to fire. But when it does fire, I'm not sure it's firing at. I think it's over here. There we go. The mass of infantry. And some tank buses over here. Kind of... There we go. They've just been seen. Oh, that's unfortunate for them. Well, they're very impressive that they were able to stealth in the middle of such an amount of lads before being seen. Stormblade over here. Very... Have you been repaired? Yes, you have been repaired. Or you're a brand new one. One or the other. Sugar Boys managing to break through here. They have killed all the Legionnaire stuff over on this side. They're now pushing out into the middle, but once they get out into the big, wide, open world, they're confronted by fire and explosives. Stormsword over here thinking, you know, we've done our business. Moving back a little bit, giving these Legionnaires a little bit of room to shine. Lehman Russ tank upgrade with a zap gun, but will be taken down. And the infantry swarm over, crossing that Orkish Rubicon. Dakajet now remembers what it was supposed to be doing. Going to be looking at all the things it can kill. And it might even, the little Dakajet that can he take out this Stormblade? That's sad. That's a children's book that's not going to be written. And Roman 228 throws out that GG. With only 45 seconds left to stop that critical location victory. But my god, what an absolutely phenomenal game. That was really fun to watch. Like I say, it was all about controlling these central points here and seeing what the players would do in that mid game. And well, the Orks just could not keep up with the econ and the tech of the Astra Militarum. Cool, right, so we'll now go over to the results of this leg of the campaign and we'll see who's won. Before we get on to the results, I would like to thank Tiger Shark for providing the script and maps that you are about to experience. Also, massive props to Jagus for his excellent editing skills in this. In the Sidrai province, the Orks offensive continues with full force and has reached Sidrai city. An Imperial tank army was wiped out in a desperate counterattack, the Orks gaining 4 cities. After weeks of bitter fighting on the Vestia front, the Orks finally managed to break through the Imperial lines in a relentless tide of green bodies and red machines. In addition, the Orks managed to seize Vestra, though a few Imperial holdouts still resist behind Ork lines, Orks gaining another 4 cities. On the Novo front, the Benmore pocket is reduced by the Orks after a 10-week defence. However, the valiant resistance allowed for the evacuation of most military and industrial assets, as well as hundreds of thousands of civilians. However, the distraction caused by the evacuation allowed the Orks to break the Novo front stalemate and siege 2 cities on the Axis. Worse still, the Orks managed to secure the vital rail connection between the 2 previously isolated fronts. Again, the Orks gaining a further 4 cities. On the Eastern Plain province, once the most worrying part of the Imperial defence, now the tables have turned completely. The brilliant Imperial counteroffensive of last month has culminated and fully liberated the Eastern Plain province. In the process, an entire Ork tank army was wiped out from the order of battle, and several other armies were severely mauled, allowing the Imperium to gain a singular city. With the end of this leg of the campaign and a total of 21 games being played, the Astra Militarum won a total of 9, the Orks 12, meaning that the Orks have won the first ever Tug-of-War campaign on this channel. But it's not over. The Imperium will fight for every square foot of land as they try to retreat their military and civilian assets off-world. Will you assist them in their darkest hour? Come to the Landshark Discord and fight for the good of the Imperium.